Alright, we are back live. Delta T Racing Class D, Race 5 Zandvoort. Let's hope we can finish this race. Not all drivers in at the moment. In case you're watching and racing in this class, rejoin the session. We're gonna have a 25% race re-race because the other lobby was really bugged. A lot of mistakes, a lot of safety cars. So I hope we can restart in a few moments. I will keep you updated. I will just have an eye on Discord and see what is going on. Still a few drivers missing for this restart. Seven drivers. In case you cannot join, restart the game. I also had some issues to join this lobby. Still 3 drivers missing. Bogarovsky is missing in the lobby, yes. Yeah. And Dimix 50 is coming. Alright, the lobby is ready soon. All right, and here we go. Here we go. We should have 10 drivers. 25% race restart of the Delta T Racing Class D Race 5 in Zandvoort. Dry weather, of course. 30 seconds left, guys. Don't forget to select your setups. Already happened to me after a restart that I missed to load my setup. In case you didn't do it yet, do it. And in a few seconds we're gonna restart this race in Zandvoort. Delta T Racing Race 5. We had a chaotic first part of the race. Big crashes, a lot of safety cars, and I hope that the lobby will work better now. Again, the counter started, 30 seconds left for the drivers to select their setups and select the right tires before we start with a probably formation lap. 25% race, Zandvoort, Netherlands. Here we go. We're gonna have a formation lap. Saleh starting from P1 in the Williams, even M02. Next to him in the Alpine, Bogarovsky P3, Dimix in the Aston Martin P4, Gunnar Alfa Romeo P5, Tyrese in the second Alfa Tauri P6, Aeon Dune P7, Askeios P8 and P9. The last is BT Nuts. You see the guys warming up their tires. All right. Looks like everyone is starting on mediums. No, sorry. Saleh P1 is starting in with softs. Tyrese with softs and Aeon Dune 12 also with softs. It's gonna be interesting to see if Saleh can have a good start and try to build up a good gap for his pit stop. And the drivers arriving at the starting grid. We have a Williams on P1. $18 laps, 25% race. Second official start of tonight. And should start in a few seconds. The red lights. And here we go, red lights on Delta T Racing Class D Race 5. Restart in Zandvoort, and here we go. Let's see the first position what is going on. We have a good start of Saleh, who can defend his P1. We have a good attack from Dimix 50, and even fighting for P2. We have an Alpha Tauri going really wide. Ooh, and Tyrese Turzo lost a few positions. No, sorry, Bogarovsky lost a lot of positions. And Saleh with an amazing start. We have a yellow flag going on. No crash. Really packed field. Saleh still on P1, even on P2. And we have in the background Beatinat really close to Bogarovsky and Tyrese attacking the both Alpha Tauris. Looks like the lobby is working well now. We have no yellow flag, no safety car. And Askeos at the last position at the moment. And in front, Saleh already with a little gap between him and Even. Saleh with the fastest lap at the moment, 1:17.1. And Beatinat has over 1 minute. It looks like he's lapped, which makes no sense to me, so something is going wrong in this game. But we focus on the front rows. We have Dimix really close to Even. I guess the times are not right at the moment. Deltas are not correctly, not sure. Let's have an eye on it. Ao and June is really close to Gunnar. Oh, and we have a crash. Tarius Turzo has spun. Last position for him now. We go back into the field, a lot of things going on. In front, Saleh is leading the race, even behind him, Aston Martin. Ooh, and we have the second Alpha Tauri. Bogarovsky lost his car. And Bogarovsky, last position for him after a spun. And in front we have Dimix 50 chasing Even. And both Alpha Tauris into the pit. They will lose a lot of time. Bogarovsky has to wait. Ooh, this is really bad for the Alpha Tauris. But we focus on front to see if we can see a fight going on. No fight going on. And we have Bogarovsky still in the pit. Fresh softs for him. Out of the pit on P9, of course. And in the front rows we have Even chasing Saleh with almost 1 second gap. But Even has a purple sector 2. Looks like he's faster than Saleh. So I hope we're gonna see a fight between the two for the P1. Let's have a quick look at the tires. And we have Ao and Dune with the fastest lap at the moment, 1:13.0. We're gonna drive on board with Dimix 50, Ao and Dune right behind him in the Alpine. We have two Alpines in the first 5 positions, Even on P2 and Ao and Dune on P4. And Ao and Dune closing the gap to Dimix. Looks like he's faster. He has softs, of course. He's faster off Dimix on mediums. DRS open. Lap 4 of 18. Really short DRS zone. Dimix with a little mistake. Has to be careful to not lose his car. Going wide into the curb. Onto the curb, and let's see if Ao and Dune can attack him with the next DRS zone, but Dimix is also in the DRS zone of Even. Let's see what he can do. It looks like Dimix is out of ERS. His light is blinking. And Saleh meanwhile with a gap of 1.3. And we have this threesome battle going on for P3 and 2. Ooh, Dimix really close. Had the better exit than Even, and now he can maybe attack him, but we see that Dimix is out of ERS. Dimix with the purple sector 1. Looks like he's really fast at the moment. Really close to Even. Has to be careful to not touch him. And Ao and Dune also really close. We have a nice fight for P2 at the moment. And we have also wheel to wheel from BT Nuts and Gunnar. BT Nuts passed Gunnar. Five-second penalty for Tyrese. And we're gonna focus on this free-zone battle. We have a little gap between Aeon Dune. Looks like he did a mistake. But he has DRS. And we have maybe the attack. We have Dimix really close. Late braking for him. Inside line for Dimix. Wheel to wheel with even can defend his position. Had the better exit. And really nice fighting from Dimix. And meanwhile Aeon Dune is really close back again. We have the threesome pack for P2, 3 and 4. Dimix with the better exit. Really close to even. Ooh, early braking from him to avoid a crash. Lost a little bit of time. And that brings Aeon Dune back. Really close to Dimix. Let's see what happens in the next DRS zone. But the Aeon Dune is on soft. So he's surely faster than Dimix. DRS is really short here, no chance to attack, but he brings him really close. And that's going to be a really interesting fight for P2. BT Nuts also closing the gap to these three guys fighting. And meanwhile we have Sally with already a gap of 2.1 leading the race. And now it's going to be really interesting. Aeon Dune with DRS, Dimix out of ERS. Let's see if you can attack him in this turn. Oh, and this is really nice racing from the guys. And there was a contact between Dimix and Even. I guess there was a contact and Even has spun, brings him to P6. He lost his car. Ooh, that he lost a lot of time. Even. So sad that there was a contact between the two. I guess I'm not sure, I didn't see it exactly, but it looked like there was a little contact between them. But I would say it was a race accident, and it was sure not made extra from Dimix. But we have really close fighting between Aeon Dune now and Dimix for P2, and BT Nuts meanwhile closed the gap to these two guys and is really close, brings him to the fight for P3 and 2. That's gonna be interesting what the Ferrari can do. Aeon Dune, we have now a new threesome battle between Dimix, Aeon Dune and BT Nuts. Aeon Dune really close. It's gonna be interesting in the next DRS zone because Dimix will not have DRS, out of ERS, and now here we see Aeon Dune attacking him. Aeon Dune on the inside line attacking Dimix, and yes, Aeon Dune P2 passing Dimix. Of course, Aeon Dune on fresh soft tires. I mean on soft tires. And Dimix lost the position, and meanwhile Saleh has already built up a gap of 3 seconds between him. Other three guys has lost a lot of time fighting each other, and now BT Nuts is chasing Dimix in the Ferrari. Try to close the gap and fight for the podium. Sad for Even that he had a spun. He was into the pit now. Fresh softs for him. But it's gonna be difficult if we don't have a safety car. And we have BT Nuts now chasing Dimix. Dimix had a bad exit, almost lost his car. Dimix out of ERS, you see his light blinking all the time, that means he's out of ERS, and this is a good situation for BT Nuts. BT Nuts DRS open, going for the attack, no, brakes a little bit earlier to avoid the crash. Gunnar in the background, and Saleh leading the race, clean race for him. And we're gonna focus on these three guys fighting for P2. Let's see if BT Nuts can attack Dimix in the next few laps. They have both used medium tires. And that's gonna be interesting what strategy they are gonna take. Good exit of the guys. Looks like they have all the same pace. Doesn't look like that AO and Dune can make the gap bigger, but now we're gonna see the next DRS zone. And we have AO and Dune going into the pit and BT Nuts into the pit. Saleh also into the pit. We have the first three guys going into the pit. Saleh with some fresh mediums, BT Nuts with softs. And let's see what is going on. And it looks like that AO and Dune overtook BT Nuts into the pit. I'm not sure. Alright, back on field we have Saleh still leading the race, sorry, on P2, but Dimix has still to go into the pit. And BT Nuts now has a little gap to AO and Dune. Okay, we have back the fight for P4 actually. And we have Askeos in front of them with used mediums. Let's see what happens. Threesome battle, and we have AO and Dune passing Askeos. BT Nuts is right behind them, now attacking Askeos. And Askeos going into the pit brings BT Nuts back to P4, AO and Dune P12. And Dimix was in the pit, coming out wheel to wheel with BT Nuts. Ooh, nice racing from the guys. And we have back this fight for the podium between these three guys. AO and Dune in the Alpine, BT Nuts in the Ferrari, and Dimix in the Aston Martin. And we have AO and Dune on mediums, so let's see if he can keep, ooh, and AO and Dune has spun! AO and Dune lost his car! When I was saying if he can keep up the pace, he lost his car into the gravel. AO and Dune in the Alpine also with a spun. Both Alpines have spun, and that brings BT Nuts into P2. BT Nuts, by the way, with the purple sector 2, looks like he's really fast. And we have now this battle for P2 between Dimix and BT Nuts. The gap is almost 1 second, so Dimix has DRS. BT Nuts with the fastest lap at the moment, 112.3. And Dimix can now close the gap because of the DRS, both on softs. And we have the Alpine, the big losers of this start phase, or of this half race, both with a spin, lost a lot of positions. And we're gonna focus back on Dimix to see if he can attack BT Nuts in the next few corners. We have 6 laps left, 25% race. DRS for Dimix. This is gonna be the fight for P2 between BT Nuts and Dimix. And meanwhile they are closing the gap to Saleh. So it looks like Saleh is of course slower with mediums. That's gonna be interesting at the end. We have Dimix with the hot lap now, with the with the fastest lap, 112.2, faster than BT Nuts. Let's see if he can attack, and the guys are closing the gap to Saleh. So we maybe will have a really nice finish of the race, an ending of the race with the guys closing the gap. It's already 1.6 the gap, it was 1.9 before. So BT Nuts and Dimix are faster on their softs than Saleh. This could be really interesting now for the rest of the race. We have 5 laps left. Can Saleh keep up the good pace and keep the first position to win this race? We see Dimix still really close to Bitinat, still in the DRS window. And we have Saleh with some problems. Saleh losing a lot of time. He was on 1.5 and is now on 0.7. I don't know what happened. Saleh on mediums, but it should not be the reason. It looks like Saleh has some problems, and Bitinat is now into the DRS window of Saleh. Saleh with some problems, and Bitinat already really close. Half a second between him and Saleh. Bitinat can grab the P1 in the next few laps. We have 4 laps left. Dimix had a bad exit of this turn, brings him to a gap of 0.8. And we have now Bitinat fighting for P1, really close to him. Bitinat with a gap of 0.4, really close to Saleh. Possible attack in the next few turns. DRS zone coming. Ooh, saved the car, and now we have Bitinat really fast, really close to Saleh. Saleh with some troubles on mediums. Looks like Bitinat is definitely faster, and he could attack him in the next DRS zone. Bitinat's really close to Saleh. Let's see if he can attack him. DRS open for him. Bitinat's out of ERS. No attack at the moment. And Dimix is... the gap between him and Bitinat is almost 1 second. He has to be careful to remain in the DRS zone. Let's see if Bitinat can attack him in the next turns. No fights going on the field. We're gonna stay here to see if Bitinat can grab position 1. Bitinat, of course, on softs. Saleh on mediums. Let's see what the guys are doing. Oh, and we have a mistake. Dimix with a mistake. Dimix with a mistake in the Aston Martin. With a mistake, and this could possibly cost him the fight for P2 and 1. The gap is big, 2.5 seconds after a mistake from Dimix, and we're gonna focus on this fight for P1. Bitinat chasing Saleh, and now the gap is really small, 0.2. DRS open. Bitinat's really close, not close enough to attack Saleh. Saleh defending his position. 2 laps left. Bitinat still behind. We have a yellow flag in sector 2. Let's see if I can... Yes, we have a span of Tyrese, but we're gonna focus on this fight to not miss it. Bitinat in the Ferrari versus Saleh. Let's see if Saleh can defend his position. If he can win this race. 2 laps left. The gap is really small, 0.2 at the moment. DRS now for Bitinat. Bitinat's coming close, but not close enough. Late braking of Bitinat. Really nice racing from the guys, fighting for the win of this race. Saleh with a good exit, now back on straight. Looks like Saleh is managing really well his ERS. And we go back to Bitinat's DRS open, but the gap is too big. Doesn't look like he can attack him after the straight. And Saleh defending well and amazing his P1. Dimix already with a gap of 3 seconds. Look like he cannot reach the guys. But this is gonna be the fight for the win of this race. Bitinat versus Saleh, Ferrari versus Williams. Looks like Bitinat cannot come close enough to attack him, pass him. We have 2 laps left in this race. Bitinat with a late braking coming really close to Saleh. Perfect racing from the guys. We have Bitinats again in the DRS windows, of course. Late braking of him, trying to catch him before the long straight. Better exit from Bitinats, but Sele too. And now Bitinats is really close, had the better exit. DRS for Bitinats. Let's see if we can attack him. We are arriving at the last lap of the guys. Sele defending on the inside line. Sele defending. Bitinats has to be careful. Switch back and try to pass him, but Sele is defending well his P1. Last lap of Zandvoort, guys. What an amazing end of the race. Bitinats really close to Sele. Sele defending his position. We see Bitinats light blinking out of ERS. Downshift to 6th, up to 7 to not lose the traction. Sele defending his position, really difficult to overtake in this part of track. So Bitinats has to stay really close to him. Perfect braking from Bitinats in the Ferrari. Good defending from Sele, and we are arriving at the second last DRS zone. Bitinats again in the DRS zone. Attacking Sele, Sele defending on the inside line. Bitinats has to step back. Sele goes wide. Bitinats trying the switch back. Bitinats really close to Sele, but Sele had a better exit on this corner. Bitinats, last chance to attack him. Looks like Sele has ERS left, and Sele will win this race. Sele is the winner of this race. Bitinats in the Ferrari P2, Dymix 50 P3. Congratulations to Sele for the win. What an amazing racing from the guys. Wow, amazing race action from the guys. Sele versus Bitinats. Dymix P3, Gunnar in the Alpha P4, Alpine, EO in Dune P5, Even P6, Askeos P7, Bogarovsky P8, and last is Tyrese Turzo finishing his race in the Alpha Tauri. Congratulations again to Sele 71 for his win in the Williams. And we see Tyrese finishing the race. And this is it. Delta T Racing Class D Zandvoort has finished after a chaotic first race. Driver of the day, Bitinats, well deserved. Had an amazing recover and an amazing fight for P1. And here we see the winner in the Williams, Sele. Congratulations to him. Champagne shower before we're gonna have a last look on the standings of this race in Zandvoort. Alright, Sele 71 in the Williams P1, Bitinats Ferrari P2, as I say, Dymix 15 Aston Martin P3, Gunnar P4, Aeon Dune P12, Aeon Dune 12 P5, Even ZM02 in the second Alpine P6, so a lot of points tonight for Alpine. Askeos P7, Bogarovsky P8, and last position P9 for Tyrese. Alright, this is it. Thanks for watching and see you next week. Delta T Racing Class D every Thursday. Good night and have a nice weekend. Bye bye guys.